Oh man, it's gorgeous out. Snow coming down, flakes. I love it in Tahoe. Hey, what's up guys? Sean at Shock Surplus here. We are up in Tahoe right now, and the storm is inbound. That crazy storm everyone's been hearing about at the end of January, we are recording that right now. So this area is expecting up to, I don't know, they're calling for something crazy like 100 inches. So this is just the beginning. It got a lot of snow from last night, but let's cut to the chase. We are here with our new 2020 Ram 2500 Power Wagon, and we've been running the RS9000 Rancho shocks on this for about 2,000 miles, give or take. Tons of off-road miles, easily 500 off-road miles between Mammoth Lakes, the Mammoth area, Mono Lake, all of the Tahoe National Forest trails, up here in Verdi, around Truckee, out in Johnson Valley. King of the Hammer, it's coming out right up. So we've been all over the place with these at all types of speeds, and a lot of washboard, a lot of just moderate, easy dirt trails. But I want to get into what I think about these shocks and just the typical OE replacement shocks in general. Now, my experience so far has been, checking out a Tacoma on Fox 2.5 DSCs, which are fully adjustable, and then my Tacoma, which saw factory shocks, Bilstein upgrades, Fox 2.0 coilovers, and then the Icon 2.5 adjustable series shocks. And just right off the bat, the Tacoma independent front suspension system typically is just more comfortable in general than a solid axle truck. So there's pros and cons to both platforms, but the Icon 2.5 shocks, the adjustment there made a massive difference in how the vehicle handled. So just talking about that versus an adjustable shock like a Rancho RS9000, which is it's a tri-tube shock, but there's no reservoir on it. And there's 9 adjustment settings, full soft, full firm. They say the middle is about the response of an RS5000. But one of the problems that is going to plague us with these shocks and the next shocks, which are the Bilstein 5100s that we'll be testing, is that trucks like this are typically just oversprung from the factory. So the springs are so firm in the front and rear that they are providing a lot of the ride control. They're very firm, and a normal shock just isn't going to recover a lot of the ride comfort, whether that's on the highways, on the pavement, on washboard. The spring is just so firm with so little travel availability out of it under normal driving conditions that a shock really can't do much when the suspension is only articulating a few inches at a time. So with that said, there's progressive rate springs from Carly, Thurin, Synergy, and maybe a couple others that we're eyeing as the first big suspension upgrade. But in the meantime, we're going to run a lot of off-the-shelf product, which is the stock Bilstein that we already had on this. We went over to the RS9000s to check out their adjustability because we have a ton of RS9000 and Rancho customers that we really wanted to get a tried and true feel for how much of a difference those shocks make. So that's what we're doing specifically with the truck right now, running up and down washboard roads, high speed, low speed, and honestly couldn't really tell a difference from the get-go, switching over from the Bilstein 4600s to the new Rancho, to these RS9000s. It was very hard to tell a difference. They both responded very much the same, and that's pretty surprising because these RS9000s are about $440 retail, whereas the Bilstein 4600s are probably closer to 300, 280. So with that said, it's like save your pennies, mainly because making the adjustments from full soft to full firm, you could rarely tell a difference, especially at lower and moderate speeds. Out on these trails with low visibility, you're not really hitting it too hard in a big truck because A, braking power, B, these kind of trails, these mountain trails, it's just not high speed environments. It's pretty low speed. You can't see around turns. So that kind of driving, these shocks really don't do too much for us. I imagine that in the higher speed stuff, when you're setting it to full compression, it does help bottom out protection, taking those big hits. So if that's what you do, then the Rancho 9000s are probably, they might be a good upgrade for you. But for us, slower terrains out here, a lot more rock crawling, I would have probably just rather saved the money and stuck with the Bilsteins until we can get like a true full suspension system upgrade with some progressive front and rear springs. One difference that we could tell is on washboard. I would say the middle to soft setting, so 3, 4, 5, you could tell a difference in how the suspension and basically just road and butt comfort kind of felt on those softer settings versus a firmer setting. I ran up this trail right here, which was, it's not technically a washboard, but it's extremely bumpy, very rocky, but small rocks. So you can still go pretty fast and you're not going to get unsettled too much, but it's extremely jarring. This vehicle, and I imagine many other 2014 and up Ram 2500 and 3500s, a lot of rear axle hop. It's like actually kind of embarrassing for a brand new truck. So pretty disconcerting about that. I don't think any off-the-shelf shock is going to save the ride comfort and performance of these vehicles without a progressive rate spring to match. Now, when we talk progressive rate springs, the spring, like a progressive rate spring for this vehicle, front and rear, it'll be longer but softer. So it's still going to provide 1.5 inches to 2 inches of lift, but it's going to be softer. So it's going to allow that suspension to gain probably 25 to 50% more travel. So with that said, then you pair it up with a really good shock that controls that energy really well in compression and rebound to resettle it. And that's like the optimal ride setup. Whereas from the factory, they come oversprung, very firm. So the springs are doing a lot of the ride control rather than the shocks. So the shocks are helping out a little bit, but the springs are just so firm on this setup. It's been the kind of agreed upon sentiment with these vehicles, along with the Ford Super Duties. If you want true good off-road performance, which we do a lot of, we'll need a progressive spring setup. So we're definitely eyeballing some stuff from Carly, Thurin, and Synergy. We'll see what's up next. So with that said, the RS9000s, if you're going from a very old setup and you don't have a set of Bilsteins already available, yeah, they're probably a pretty good option. If you have a progressive rate spring, they're probably a pretty good option because those settings will make a much bigger difference. But for something like this, I probably would have preferred to save the money and just go straight to a 2.5 shock or something that doesn't have as big of a price tag based on an adjustment feature. So that's just my personal opinion. But we're looking to upgrade this in the near future for King of the Hammers. We got 18-inch wheels coming. We got 37-inch Nito ridge grapplers coming. We got rock sliders coming, and we got Bilstein 5100s ready to be put on. So those are next up in our little review. You could check us out at King of the Hammers out there. We'll check you guys out next time, and let us know in the comments. Shoot us an email. You got any questions on your specific rig, and if it's worth it, we'd love to help out. Thanks so much, guys.